Hello everybody, this is Havoc and welcome to the next Ancient Empires faction overview. We are starting with the next faction in line, which is the Axum. Now, the Axum don't have a very full roster, and it'll be interesting to see just how well they do in battle, but we're going to go ahead and knock right on into them. Starting out, we have Ethiopian Noblemen. These are capped at 5 per army. These guys are really not too bad. They have a charge rating of 4, melee offense of 10, melee defense of 15, an armor rating of 12, and a morale at 14, means that they will not rout very quickly, and they will definitely hold that line. Next up, we have Ethiopian Cav. Charge rating of 8, melee offense of 8, melee defense of 10, armor of 5, and a morale of 15. Make them some excellent melee Cav. Maybe not the strongest, but definitely will hold out on their own. Let's get down to Spear Infantry. Southern Spear Levies. These guys only cost 100 apiece. Very nice for very large rosters, if that's how you roll. Charge rating of 4, melee offense of 7, melee defense of 11, armor rating of 4, and morale of 6. So not the best ratings in terms of armor and charge value, but a decent melee and a pretty good defense for someone only costing 100 talents is definitely pretty good. Next up, we have Ethiopian Spearmen. These guys pretty much only see an increase in melee offense, a little higher armor rating, and actually, just a little bit of morale. And they actually go down in melee defense. So, honestly, it would probably be worth it to buff that morale, that armor, and that offense. I would probably go with those guys over the Southern Spears. And they only cost 15 more, so I think they would be worth it. And then last but not least, you have your Ethiopian Noblemen, of course, of which you can only have 5 per army. Be pretty solid troops. Next, we have Southern African Warriors. These guys are Tier 1 light melee infantry. Charge rating of 4, melee offense of 9, melee defense of 8, armor rating at 4, and a morale at 8. Makes them pretty decent for light melee for sure. But again, you could honestly, and I'm just going to throw this out there already, you could go ahead and get some more Ethiopian Spearmen. But I guess the advantage of these guys, they actually have, they'd have a ranged attack too, but they're resistant to fatigue. They can hide in scrub and forest, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we use them, see if we don't. For bow infantry, we have Southern Archer Levies. These guys are really not too bad as well. Ammunition of 23, ranged offense of 3, which we usually see at about a 2 for light bow infantry. Missile range of 110, charge rating of 2, melee at 6. Melee defense at 3, armor rating of 4, and morale at 6 means they're not going to do too bad once they get into melee combat, but you certainly want to try to keep them out of it. For slingers, we have Ethiopian mounted slingers. These guys are going to have the highest ammunition rating, ranged offense of 2, missile range of 240, charge rating of 3, melee offense of 5, melee defense of 8, armor rating at 5, and a morale at 6. Very interesting stats, pretty standard of some of your kind of more slightly heavier light slinger troops. And then last but not least, we have Ethiopian Cav. Charge rating of 8, melee offense of 8, melee defense at 10, armor rating at 5, and a morale at 15, which is really surprising. Again, I mean, that's your general's unit, so we're able to do that in, but just a really high melee or morale for melee offense or for melee Cav is pretty interesting. So, not the most exciting or in-depth roster, certainly not the most elite. I'll see you on the battlefield. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the battlefield. We are in the middle of the desert with our fantastic looking army, and we are going to be playing against the Kingdom of Kush. Now, I know you guys have seen them, and I'm sure you're like, well, they weren't all that. I mean, we beat the Ptolemaic Empire, or, well, yeah, we beat the Egyptians with them, but we also have to remember that I'm going to have to move quickly with these troops, which is a new kind of strategy, because the Kingdom of Kush all has poison arrows, which will make things really interesting, and so hopefully we'll be able to see we have more men than them, which is kind of surprising, but we'll make do. Let's go through my unit compositions, and then we will get right into the battlefield. So, start out with some Ethiopian Spearmen up here on the very front. Again, these guys aren't going to look too super elite because they're not super elite troops at all. Nice little baggy pants going on. Behind them, we actually over here, forgot about these guys. We have our Southern African Warriors. Now these guys look really cool. I really like them. Sorry, I had to take a deep breath there. Looks like armed with billy clubs. Very nice, very nice. But yeah, just all the different variations of painted warriors really make them look pretty scary actually, but really awesome. Behind them we have 5 units of slingers. Ethiopian Mountain Slingers. I chose them because they do have a much higher range, so I'm hoping that I can at least distract our friends, the Kingdom of Kush, by pelting them with rocks and stones before they can even get really close. Behind them, we have 5 units of Ethiopian Spearmen, and these guys are going to be our most elite spearmen or infantry that we're going to have today. And even then, they're not too super elite at all, but their stats are going to hopefully prove them otherwise. So I have 5 units of those guys, and then I have 3 units of Ethiopian Cav, which do look rather nice. They look really cool. That black shield, I guess that's a dark green. It looked black. I thought it was really cool. And then my general over here. So guys, that's it. We are outnumbering the enemy by a good 240, but again, those poison arrows mean we're going to have to act super quick. And there is no spreading out, so that's one thing we'll also have to consider. So I'm going to kind of come at them from a whole bunch of different angles. I don't want to bunch my troops up. Let's bring Spearmen over on that flank. And then I'm actually going to pull one of these, kind of give us a nice good flanking maneuver overall. Put my Slingers there. They should be able to hit those guys pretty easily. And then we're going to move all of our Cav over here. Oh dear Lord, look at that dust. That dust is wrecking my frame rate. I forgot to turn the dust pack on, so that's one thing I'll have to consider next time, because that is a little bit of a bug. It's not supposed to be that dusty. We are outnumbered, though. Let's move back. We are outnumbered in terms of Cav. I told you guys in the last faction overview that I really want to start not giving myself such a huge advantage. And that's simply because, wow, look at that dust, man. Whew. Yeah, we're seeing some major issues, and already we're going to have to start plowing into these guys. Now, if we can make it there in time, then we should be able to win. But it's, again, we have to move quickly because they're giving us pretty big morale penalties and some damage penalties. So I'm definitely going to have to take that into consideration when I'm moving these troops. Slingers, you start pelting the guys in the back. Here we go. See, look, we're already losing a unit to that poison attack, because it does give us a pretty nasty morale debuff. Man, that dust. Yeah, I forgot to turn on the dust, so if you guys don't scale me too bad on the fact that this dust is awful. But we have enough troops in here now. There we go, recover. You're actually going to come over here and flank. Actually, you're going to come over here, take on those guys. We are losing this battle pretty desperately. Let's take on those Kushite bowmen, and we're going to slow it down and get a look-see here on the battlefield before we all rout, basically. Very nice. It's a little hard to distinguish one group from the other because the Kingdom of Kush and the Axum players do look very similar. Ugh, this is not going well for us. We could plunge into the back of those guys. Let's go ahead and hit that up there. We're going to hit those troops. We're going to give ourselves some morale buffs. There we go. There we go. That was a solid charge. Sweet, we've routed those guys. Pull those guys out, because we're going to need to take on those Kushites. There we go. We're routing that flank. I knew all we needed to do was to really get into the battle. It was just that part that was scaring me. because getting into the battle was a lot harder than it usually is. Let's get our general out of there, because they are hitting me, because these are Kushite nobles, which means they do have a ranged attack with them. Alright, now that we're sort of okay for the time being, go after those Kushite bowmen. We're going to again take a look. Here we go. Here's how we can tell a difference. This is good. We got some of their heavier... Oh, here we go. See those sticks a-flying, those poison clubs? So much dust. I do apologize for this. This was supposed to look a lot better. That was my bad on the fact that I couldn't... I forgot to... wow, I can't talk. My dust pack. There we go. Goodness gracious. Okay, so you're routing. Perfect. We're going to plunge into the back of these guys, and that should make this whole entire flank just collapse. I really thought we were more screwed than we are. I'm not going to lie. Hitting the backs of those guys will help massively in causing this whole flank to rout. So, yep, we're already causing that. Come on, don't tell me you're losing. Don't tell me you're losing. We need to pull these guys out for another hammer and anvil charge. We need to help our general first. Let's actually pull all of our cav. Help our general take out this Kushite light cav. I'm actually surprised that the enemy's cav routed so quickly. You guys are going to come around there. General's pulling out. Oh, he's taking out my archers. Very nice. Smart move. It appears both of our melee troops are gone. Our melee infantry. Charge in the back of this Kushite Royal Guard. Oh, nice little javelin throw beforehand. There we go. We got ourselves a dust storm, ladies and gentlemen. Now that does look cool. Now if we did this, might give it a little more of an epic overlay. What's going on here? Okay, all of our troops are good. Spearmen line up. Slingers, you all just pull back, actually. I don't want you in the battle. We're going to trap their general. And then hit those Kushite Royal Guard in the back. Oh, sweet. That entire flank has collapsed. There we go. That'll be the end. For sure. Those guys are going to rout. Yep, both of those dudes have routed. Or they're routing. They were routing. Their general should probably rout pretty soon. There he goes. Let's give a buff to my own troops. There he goes, and there's the last troop. Whew. That was close. In the battle, decisive victory, so I was not expecting that, to be completely and 100% honest. I mean, admittedly, they did have less... I actually don't know how, in terms of weapon damage and stuff, that does, but I did have a ton of money left over, and so did they. But again, I was surprised that the Kushite Light Cav and the Kushite Royal Cav didn't do more damage than they did, and it could be because of this plus bonus. That is three ranks higher, but again, I'm pretty sure that tiers didn't do a whole lot in the Ancient Empires mod. The devs will have to point that out, whether or not that's true. If it is, then I gave myself a very unfair advantage. If not, then it's just kind of for show, and I actually am that good, I guess. Not to brag. But, so yeah, actually I was very surprised. We did lose both of our South African warriors. We did have units routing a lot more than usual, and I did give them a significant, I felt a significant advantage in terms of Cav. But again, I really wanted to get into that battle quickly because they have that poison attack damage. And as you saw, it routed a troop right at the very beginning. So I guess I kind of was a little overzealous, I guess you could say. But regardless, I think it was still a good battle. It still showed that the Axum, even though they don't have the best of troops, that they could still probably do some pretty good damage, especially against some of the smaller factions of the Ancient Empire's world. So guys, I hope you enjoyed it regardless. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Be on the lookout for the next Ancient Empire faction overview. This is Havoc, and I'm out of here. Peace!